everybody, and welcome to the Femme Force Podcast. My name is Rachel, and I am your host. And today I am shooting on location in New York City with one of my very good friends, Kristi.
Hi.
So thank you for being here, Kristi. I appreciate it. This is Kristi's first podcast, guys.
First one. Here we go.
First one. I am taking the virginity of the podcast here. So I met Kristi, like I met most of my guests, abroad. So I met her in Paris through our mutual friend, Anna Klutz. Mm-hmm. And then I guess we fell in love. And then I just basically leached onto her and her husband and wanted to be friends for a long time. And we've gotten to travel together and spend time. And I've gotten to see multiple of her children born, which we're going to get into. But Kristi actually, before being a travel content creator, was in the corporate world and lived in Dubai and did something a little different. So can you tell the listeners just a little bit about how, you know, your first career started and then how it transitioned into what you're doing now?
Yeah. So I moved to Dubai without a job. I guess I recommend that. It worked out well for me. And I actually worked in photo production. So did all the big campaigns for like Coca-Cola, Emirates Airways, Chanel, but we would make them obviously Arab. So got to travel the Middle East extensively, put together photo shoots. So then when like Instagram became a thing, I was like, oh, well, that is my job, taking a pretty photo. So I started sharing on the platform and it kind of just took off. Different locations took off. So I just kept posting. And then I eventually moved to New York City. And it became like a little creative outlet for me because I then transferred into working in dermatology sales. And then Instagram became almost a bigger thing. I was making the same amount of money in my corporate job as I was, online. So once COVID happened, I just decided to take one path and not the other.
Yeah. And you're in the hundreds of thousands of followers now. So
yes,
it was a good career decision from there.
Yes.
And did you decide because you love to travel and you moved to the Middle East, like you said, without a job, did you decide that travel content creating really was like going to be your bread and butter?
I think it just kind of happened. I was traveling. I was actually in Bali, and back in the day on Instagram, you could take a photo, and I took a photo and I had I opened my account up to public, not private. And I woke up the next morning to, I think Travel and Leisure reshared my photo. Yeah. And so I woke up to like 3,000 new followers. And I honestly just thought it was like all spam and I didn't know really what was going on. And then, so I decided to just keep posting really beautiful hotels or different destinations, and it led into this. But now it's definitely more like lifestyle. Like I said, I have 4 kids now. So, and I love New York City. It's the place that we bought a home here. We're going to live here forever, hopefully. And so I love also sharing, my life, New York City. And I just think New York City is a great springboard for travel. We have 3 airports, so it's pretty easy. And it's just worked out really well.
And you're raising 4 kids under the age of 4, everyone.
So 4 kids in 3 years. Do not recommend, but here we
all
are.
The littles here. How did you bring in your kids to kind of like, this is what mom does? Like she travels and trying to balance that.
I think it's something I've always done, and it's something more of a discussion that I had with my partner. And so my husband, and obviously traveling is something that brings me so much joy and discovering new cultures and stuff. So he's like my number one cheerleader. And when I get a big work trip, he's all about me doing it. And I think the kids just kind of know that on the flip side, I don't work in an office, right? Yeah. So I am home. And then when I have a trip, like if I have to go to India for a few weeks, I go. But then when I'm home, I'm home. So I never miss like their first steps, all those kind of moments. I will take a trip, but what works best for our family is I do take longer trips. Yeah. Instead of popping in and out, because that's just harder. So I'll take like a 2-week trip and get a ton of stuff done. Then when I'm back, I'm back.
Yeah. And you're in full mom mode then.
Yes.
And I think shout out to David. We love you, David.
Yeah.
But having a partner that not only is like lifting you up, but also is taking his share of the parental duties, like that has to be a big thing, because do you see other like content creators who then like expand into having their own families? And it's content creating is a full-time thing.
Yes,
It's
you've been on a trip with me
It
where
is
I was
hard.
doing it.
Sunrise photo shoots, guys, creative voiceover stuff, like the photos, all of the things are like you have to be creative and be sharing all the time to like keep your interaction with your followers.
Right.
So do you feel like it's harder for like other influencers who are trying to get into this or who are into it and going to start planning a family to be able to even think about doing all this?
I don't want to speak about other influencers in their way because I mean, honestly, I have such a good core group of influencer friends, or I wouldn't even call them influencers. We're just really great friends. And I haven't really seen it negatively affect anyone, to be very truthful. But I also think we were right with selecting the people we decided to share our lives with. Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably the most important decision in your life, especially if you want to have children. And I hit the jackpot. So he literally, whenever I get a trip, even if I think it's too much, I don't think he's never said no. It's just we have to reevaluate. But he always picks up and it's the same though. Like for me, he loves golfing. So I'm always going to push him to do those things. And we're very independent. We're both, and I think that works in our marriage. We're very independently happy. And so then when we're together, we're very happy. And then we have 4 kids. And it's kind of something I want to show our kids that the biggest thing for me and why I wanted to stay in New York City is because when we talked about, obviously we have 4 kids and like a lot of people were like, move to the suburbs. And the first thing women would say to me okay, you're going to make friends with Pierce's mom friends, or you're going to be like Theo's mom friends. And I think that's beautiful. And I have a ton of mom friends. But in New York, I think as a woman, at least for me, I have my own identity. I'm a photographer. I'm a content creator. I'm all these things. And then, I also have 4 children. The 4 children aren't my identity. And there's sometimes where I'm out with brands and they won't even know that I have that many kids and they'll be shocked. And I just don't want to lead with that. And so, you will not see me moving to the suburbs anytime soon, hopefully.
She's a New Yorker through and through, everyone.
I really am.
Kristi is a born, bred New Yorker here from Texas, but still.
Yeah, I was like, not born here, but
feels like you are. You're over 10 years, so you get the moment there for being a New Yorker. When you have other moms that come up to you that are like full-time into this, do you have any advice you give them when you're like, this is my identity? I mean, I've known you for a couple of years now. And I mean, you're always just Kristi. Like, you're Kristi with 4 children for sure. But like you have your own identity. And it's hard enough for women that are just trying to get through their career without kids. Like I couldn't imagine then having the identity of like when your life starts evolving around small humans.
Right. And I think it's just something that like I said, there was many conversations before we started trying for our first. And if you have 1 kid only, that's very chic. I feel like you can do a lot with just having 1 kid. And when you have 4, the things just shift, priorities shift. But it's something that was always important to me. And it was very, like after my first, I kind of got a little bit lost. I had my son during the middle of the pandemic. My husband wasn't allowed in the hospital. It was New York City. So imagine having an emergency C-section, FaceTime your husband. It was horrible. I got a little bit depressed. But the thing that got me out of that was getting back into who I was. Like my husband would push me and be like, go out and take photos, go out and do this. And like through that, I found like everything just became better. Like it was like the gray left my life. And so, I mean, but every woman in every journey to motherhood is different. And so I don't judge anybody's motherhood journey or how they want to do it. Some people, the baby is born and they just want to dive into that. And that's beautiful. That just wasn't me. Yeah. I'm obsessed with my kids, but I also want my kids to know that
mommy works.
Yes. And I have 2 daughters and I want them to know that they can have their dreams and their life doesn't have to revolve around but mom's going out and still accomplishing her dreams, right? Like I'm still working for, like I had a few dream clients that I just worked with a few months ago. And I'm in my 30s and like I just want them to know that like life doesn't end. It just literally gets better. And that's kind of the way I was raised. The way I was raised, that my parents we had this dream life and we brought kids into it and they're like a cherry on top, but our lives were already great and we're doing all these things, but the kids are adding to it.
Yeah. So, it's very European style way of parenting.
I'm not a helicopter mom. I'm by no means. I'm very hands like, my husband is, he's definitely better at the whole parenting thing. I'm the fun parent, right?
You are the fun parent, but you're a great parent.
That's going to come in. He's going to be the disciplinarian, but it works for us. And yeah, it just works for us.
But your kids are healthy, thriving, and like doing great.
And I think they're good kids.
They're great kids. Like that's
works out.
Especially with 4, like your attention. How also do you feel like you have to divide attention between 4 when you also are doing your job? I mean, they're so little right now, so I know the twins kind of come as a package.
Yes, the twins are a package. You know, I don't think I do. I don't know. I don't think I do. Like, I think the ones that, you know, my oldest is only 4, but he'll wake up a little bit earlier than the others. He is my alarm clock. He will come and wake me up. It's great. He gets himself dressed. But then he'll be like, let's go on a morning mission. A morning mission is literally taking the dog for a walk and getting Starbucks for mommy. Great. Yes. So we have our like moment together. Theo is 2. He's in preschool. He gets out a little bit earlier. So when I pick him up, we get our walks home. I think it's, as they get older, it's giving them all individual attention.
Yeah.
But right now, like, they don't really want that. They just want to be with their brothers and sisters, to be honest. And
I mean, built-in best friends.
Like,
yes, that's exactly. So much.
Like, they didn't really want to go to summer camp. They wanted to hang out with each other. Perfect. Mommy saves money. I love this for us.
Yeah. Let's all hang out together and like keep it going. Now, you travel by yourself a ton, but I know there's a lot of parents out there that, you know, have these ideas of these dream vacations with their kids where it's going to be these, we're going to wake up and they're going to be so happy and have these great moments. But I know that you've done at least one with all 4 of them. Do you have any tips or tricks on how to do that? How do you travel with 4 kids under 4?
With a nanny.
Yes.
We bring a nanny.
I always say more hands, the better. Yes. It takes a village.
But we have done one major trip. But the funny thing with children is, I think I asked my son yesterday, Pierce, what his favorite thing was that we did this summer. Okay. Yeah. And we did so many things like, you know, the zoo. We went to Boston. We went to Florida. All these special trips, all these special like mommy and me like camp memories. His favorite memory was when his babysitter came over and spent the day with him. Yeah. So when Michaela came over and spent the day, or when Pop,
and you're like, I'm right here, guys.
Yeah. So I think especially now with Instagram, and I know Instagram is my job, but I think sometimes people just blow it a little bit out of proportion. Like, look at the birthday parties these days.
Yeah.
No, some of these birthday parties, I'm sorry, you must have a $10K budget for a 1-year-old. Who, by the way, the 1-year-old will never remember
any of this.
Why can't we go back to the days of just like pizza? Maybe you get somebody who blows up a balloon, a bounce house. Iconic. No, but also save a ton of money. So, I mean, I think from my story, reeling it back to Pierce and Summer, it's just, it doesn't need to be over the top.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be over the top at all. Like,
go climb the rocks in Central Park.
Pierce loves that.
Best time ever.
But also, and the same for vacation. Like, they don't need to be at a 5-star resort. They probably won't know the difference. If it's an all-inclusive that has all-you-can-eat ice cream, that's iconic. They're going to love that. Parents might not like the same restaurant, but it's just like simple things. And I think it's another simple thing is like, yes, my job is my phone, right? But when I'm with my kids, I can't tell you how often I lose my phone because I just put it down on the couch and I'm just with my kids. So it's also just a vacation could simply be like, you don't need to get on a plane. Yeah. It could just be a staycation.
Just time with them.
Right. Time.
I mean, the time is what they're going to remember at the end of the day. It's what you're going to remember.
Exactly. And I think vacationing with kids sometimes is, especially very young children, it's really hard because you're basically like, we have a townhouse that is kid proof. We have a whole kid floor that they can go crazy and they will be fine. But when you go somewhere else, you know, there are pools, there are other, it's just, you're on high alert. And I don't know how relaxing it is. So,
right? No, it's not your vacation. It's their vacation.
It's not a vacation.
No.
So don't go into it thinking it'll be a vacation.
Yeah, don't take the kids then, guys. No kids. We're not.
Especially if you have 4 that can't swim. That's terrifying.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, and you're like, don't forget your floaties and the life vest and the whole thing. And you're zipping them all up. And you're like, all right, but remember, like, don't take that off.
I remember we were in the Dominican with the boys and we overheard Pierce, you know, because he's talking to his little brother. I think Theo was maybe 1.5 at that point. Yeah, he wasn't yet 2. And the twins we left in New York with the nanny because that would be. Yeah, but Pierce was telling him, he's like, well, the beach, because they gave us an oceanfront villa, which is beautiful. And he was like, well, mommy and daddy are sleeping. The door's right there. We can just go to the beach. And I literally had a heart attack. I was like, David, put like the dresser in front of the door. Like,
we're going to blanket the swaddle them into the bed with the sheets.
And obviously we had it all protected. But just the thought of our 3-year-old being like, we can just go outside trauma. So,
well, I can only imagine. And I mean, you're lucky. I mean, you have David and a supportive partner. And with that, being able to have the 4 kids, have the supportive partner, I feel like content creation is only getting bigger. The opportunities are only getting grander. Do you have a dream scenario and career aspirations for what you really want to do with this? Like create from your brand?
Great question. I don't know. I mean, you know me for some time now. I'm a little bit, I'm definitely not type A. So I'm just like go with the flow, dream big kind of girl. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't have a certain plan, but like, I know I want to keep going, but I also, I think something that like David and I definitely discussed, and this isn't a question, but travel has always been who I am. Lifestyle, obviously staying in New York. I love being in New York more, but I don't want to ever go into the mom vlog role or not mom content role. I am very open when people tell me like, how can you do it all? Like you go to a gala, like last night, there you go to, and
you
then
had a busy day.
And then you come, but like, and we have a lot of help. And so we don't have family that necessarily lives in the city, but we do have nannies and, one for the twins as of right now, and one for the boys.
This is New York City. It's not possible. Everybody has help.
Yes,
you can't
but
do
I
it.
mean, I just don't want people to think that like I want to be very transparent when people see that I do all these things, and I try to keep it as real as possible. I don't obviously put my nannies on camera because that's just not what they signed up for. But also, I don't really want to subscribe to being a mom blogger. I do include my kids in like stories or whatever. My son loves being in it, but it'll never be a forced thing. And if they are ever in content or in a paid campaign, we have separate accounts so all of the kids get paid, because I think that is completely fair and that's how it should be.
1,000%. I mean, you're not gonna be one of those like the Olsen twins mom. Who, like,
no, but I'm never gonna
take the money and like run there with their.
But I think my dream as of right now, as things get busier and bigger and like bigger opportunities come up, is to always I need to be more organized.
Don't we all?
No, but like you are organized.
Really
like
organized, guys. Like
I'm
really
not organized at all. And I think just keeping the balance. I don't want to miss the little moments. I know that time goes by fast. So yeah. Sometimes giving up the big campaign so I don't miss out on something. I want to keep it like that.
Do you have any advice for people who want to be content creators, like how to start out or?
Yeah, just post.
Just post?
But also get like you are your number one hater.
1,000%.
And so I used to, when I first started, I literally would have this like beautiful picture or whatever that I would take, and I would just sit there staring at it, and I'd be too afraid to push post. And honestly, it was so funny. I was more nervous about like people in high school who I was never even friends with, like, you know, your acquaintances with, like them judging me. Who cares? Like, who cares? But like just posting, even sometimes I think my content is kind of cringe, whatever. But you just get past it. And the people that I was worried of the most, it's funny, as I got successful in what I'm doing and as I started working with certain companies that people love, they'd all be like, oh my gosh, how'd you do this? How'd you start? Everybody's going to hate on you at first. Yeah. And then they're going to ask you how you did it. And so the thing is, just get past that. You're your number one critic. Just post. No,
I was telling our mutual friend, Anna, and she's a huge influencer and has like such an amazing following. But we were talking about other people getting involved in her life and becoming content creators. And I'm like, you can laugh your way to the bank. I'm like, it's a very American saying. I'm like, but laugh all the way to the bank. Yeah. I'm like, who cares what they think? I'm like, when you're sitting there like rolling in the opportunities that this is providing for you, why not laugh all the way to the bank?
But also I think stay humble and like stay true to yourself. Like I know like the life, I was literally just thinking this as I walked over here. I was like, this is my life. Like I'll probably post a story about it. Like last night I went to the Philharmonic. This morning, somebody put together this beautiful picnic in the park. And then I'm taking the train down to the East Village to do a podcast for the first time. Like this 24 hours is my life. Like that's like a girl from Colleyville, Texas. Okay. Love that. I mean, I always wanted to live here. I always wanted to live in New York ever since I was in high school. And like, I'm making it happen. So yeah, but I think staying true to yourself. Don't ever be that unrelatable, ungrateful person. Yeah. Because ew.
Well, no. And like, that's, I mean, if you're going to be like that, I always say karma's going to be a bigger bitch than any of us are ever going to be. It's going to come around. Yeah. But when you're thinking about that also, I mean, content creation is so interesting from the point that like your ideas can then be remixed or
Right.
redone and things like that. So how do you really bring something new to the table and like be like, I'm the one that started this?
Well,
It's hard because
it
like,
is
you see
hard.
things like and it's available on the apps.
But I think
and
it's
all that.
also like, okay, I don't know if this is the correct answer for this, but there are 8 billion, it's 7 billion, I think it's 8 billion now people
Yeah.
on this planet, right? And so you might come up with a unique idea, but whenever I come up with something unique, I'm always like, you know what? The odds of somebody else on the other side of the world doing this,
Yeah.
it's probably happened before. This is just my spin. And I think the only way you can keep it is just your personality has to shine through, right? Like, for
Yeah.
example, our home. I love our home. We bought our dream home, and I'm a little over the top. And so, you know, we covered our front door with flowers. Like, my
Yes.
husband's on board for it. And now it's a seasonal thing. Like, as the seasons come, we literally change our front door. And I'm talking, it is covered in flowers.
It's like an art, like a balloon archway of flowers or
Yes.
leaves and pumpkins and all of
and
this
it's
amazing
first seasonal,
spiders.
and it's
these
something that
things,
just
like,
it brings me joy, right?
Yes.
It brings me joy. It brings our block joy. And I started
brings
doing
my friends joy who pass it. And then I'm like, that's my friend Kristi's house. Tag
Yes.
her.
And so obviously I saw storeways like Maman, the coffee
Yep.
shop, did it. And I was like, why can't I do this? I can do this. And so I did. And then it's been about a year now. And then Crate and Barrel reached out to me and they're like, we would love to send you ton of decor for your stoop. And I'm like, go for it. And so now like Crate and Barrel is a part of it. We're doing like campaigns together. But the whole point is just like, has a flower arch been done before? 1,000%.
Yeah.
I've seen it on every store. I've seen it like, I haven't seen it on many homes, but I
Yeah.
did it my way. Right. And I bring my kids into it. Like my husband's on a ladder, zip tying flowers together.
David does do the manual
Yes.
labor. David does the manual labor.
We are not florists by any means. We're just throwing it up and figuring it out as we go. But we post all that online, and like it's become like this family affair,
Yeah.
right? And so all I'm saying is I did not create this.
Yeah.
But I put my own spin on it. We now have like our own little, it's like, and for our block loves it. I thought our block would find it
Yes.
very annoying. But you know what? It's very depressing in New York City when it's February and March because it is freezing. All
Yep.
the holiday decor is down. And so in February, I was like, ugh, it's so depressing. We're going to cover our front door in pink flowers, a pink flower arch, and just bring in spring a little early.
No,
And it made
people-
everybody happy.
Everybody loves it. Literally, people, I come over and people, I'm walking to the house and people are, I'm like, I don't live here, but like, you're welcome.
Yeah,
That's
and
my-
we now, I mean, start a little TikTok for it, a little TikTok account, Stoop in the City, you know, and it's fun. And so I guess my point is, we didn't create the wheel. I didn't create a flower arch, but like you put your own personality into
Yeah.
it and your own, and
Yeah.
becomes your own thing. But I think obviously you've been with me when I've had my content copied. It doesn't feel good. So
Yeah.
if you see an idea you like, credit the person. Let's not be stealing people's content for money. It's ew. It's not
No,
cute.
but, I mean,
It's not
that's,
cute.
and you have friends that do this also. So I can only
Yeah.
imagine like they have to feel the same thing when like they're seeing things and they're like,
And that's my
I did
number one
this.
advice for all my friends is like create your own lane,
yeah.
right? Like there's so many New York City bloggers,
Yeah.
travel bloggers, right? My own lane is now I do like obviously I have 4 kids. I'm female. I've gone a little bit into tech. I do photo tips. I'm a photographer. So I've kind of created my lane. My girlfriend is a lesbian and she's a lesbian New York City content creator. And so my thing for her was like, create your own lane, girl. We don't need to be like there's so many moody content creators. I was
Yeah.
like, do like a cute like day in the life. And so she's doing that now because it's like nobody like you have such a like
Everyone's an individual. We really
Right.
are.
and she was like, oh, so we did the day in the life for her. Like she's going to like, she's dating now. She's going to the cubby hole. And it was just like the cutest thing where it doesn't have to scream your sexuality because but like it can like little things where like some people know what the cubby hole is. Some people know what
Mhm.
this bar is. And it was
yeah.
interesting way to create your own lane where you don't feel like you're competing with somebody else. Because if you have your own lane, girl, you can just go a million miles an hour.
Yeah. How do you get paid sponsorships? Do you reach out to these companies? Do
Oh no,
you,
I'm
like,
horrible at that. No. You think I am pitching brands?
Does David reach out to these companies?
No. Yes, you can do that. And some people did do that. I mean, for me, it was a different route. For me, and I'm really proud and I'm glad I took this route. Like I said, content creation for me was a side hustle.
Yeah.
It was something really fun that I did before work. I'd wake up at sunrise and after work. And finally, David was like, I think you're spending more hours on the couch
yeah.
editing, but it was so much fun.
Mhm.
Photo editing for me is so much fun that I didn't see it like that, right?
Yeah.
I just was like, oh. And so then people would reach out to me. And I'm never going to be good at reaching out to brands. But like I said, like in my DMs, or I got an email from Crate and Barrel from the floral thing. Now that thing's, for me, I think it's more successful when the brands email you.
Well, it's also flattering.
Yeah,
Like,
but and you know,
nice
then
to
you
be
can
wanted.
negotiate. But I also, if you're just starting out, I think you have to really think about where you want to go.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna get some. Hopefully, you will get some massively, or emails with a really large sum of money attached to them, but the brand might not be where you see yourself in 5 years. Like I have a hard list of things that I just will not do.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, there's things I'm not going to talk about. I have 4 children, and I'm just never going to talk about.
Yeah.
Call me conservative in some areas. I'm definitely not conservative. But
Kristi is not that conservative, but yeah.
Politically, no.
Yeah, but
but there's things I'm just not going to talk. They're just, yes, I don't want my son looking things up.
Well, you're not a Kardashian. They don't need to
Yes.
see you in your underwear and doing
No.
in the voluptuous
But also
shoots that
just
they
things
do.
that I, you know, like anyway, there's just things I will not do. It doesn't matter what the price tag is behind it. And I truly believe by saying no, the power of saying no opens up so many more doors.
Well, you're able to negotiate. Like if you like the brand, but you don't like the angle or spin of the campaign they're trying to throw at you, like it's very doable.
And eventually, if your account gets big enough or you need help, I feel like many women fall into this. We don't see our value in ourselves.
Imposter syndrome 24/7.
Right. Like, so if a brand comes to me, I'm like, oh, I think I'm worth X.
Yeah.
I have a manager who will send out emails and say that a certain number, and I will literally see the number she sends out, and I'm like, okay, well, that brand's never going to call us back.
Yeah.
And they do. But she can back it up with analytics and other things. But I would have never thrown that number out there. I would have thrown out maybe 1/4. And so that also, I think, helps a lot. You know, having a manager will also, you just don't feel like the bad guy. Right?
Yeah, it's hard to negotiate for yourself. I mean, it's hard in an interview, it's hard for anything. So I couldn't imagine like getting contracts all the time and having to do it.
Right.
Like it's not just getting your one job and you negotiate in the beginning and then you don't have to negotiate again unless you really want a raise at some point, or you deserve the raise and you have to negotiate for it. But like to continually do for contracts, like that's hard. Do you feel like your sales background helped in that?
Maybe. I mean, like I said, I really don't I never was reaching out to brands, if that makes sense. I was never being like, hey, I think, and I probably should have, even when it was like a hotel collab, right? Even when, for example, we went to Turkey together in Cappadocia and we checked in, and then the guy asked for my Instagram account because he was like, oh, you're going to create content. I told him I had a photo shoot the next morning, and he pulled up my account and he's like, why aren't you staying here for free? Because
we don't need to stay here for free.
Right. But
We're
also
fine.
just, you know, like sometimes I want to go on vacation and I'm there to do a job. Like when I'm in India working with Sony or something, I don't want to be creating content for the hotel. I have a job that I'm there to do, but also I'm fine paying for the hotel, right? If there's like, but yes, hotel collabs, I could definitely be pitching all the time. And sometimes I do, right?
Yeah.
But
sometimes
something
that really draws you, or you're like,
right.
I dream
but sometimes I don't. Like, and so I've never been the one that's out there being like, hey, can I do this for free? And if I do something, I always, and I think the key is over delivering. What's it going to hurt? Like I'm a photographer. So me giving someone photos, it doesn't take me long. And I understand that photography is my background. So it's very easy for me to crank that out, but it's only going to help a brand. Except let's use one of the clothing brands. I love Delphi Collective. Yeah. Obsessed with them. If you want to go shopping, they have the best dresses. Anyway, but they loved me since day one.
Yep.
Since I had maybe 1,000 followers. I don't know. Like I had no followers. And now I have whatever I have, and she still sends me dresses. And I over deliver for her, like, no, because she believed in me when I had nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, girl, I got you.
Yeah, you have that purse brand in Rome that you love, and I send it to I'm like, my friend Kristi has this brand in Rome, and like,
well, they are amazing. Francesco Regani, amazing. I actually got married in Italy, and I was walking by, and the store was closed, and so I took a picture, and so then I found them online, and I was like, I will pay whatever, ship me your bags, and now we became working together, and he ships me bags, but they're amazing bags. They last forever. I use them all the time, and yeah, I will help and they're family owned, like 5 generations.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you work with these small businesses and give them such a platform, which is so cool. And then you're also working like with big clients. I mean, Sony, Apple, like these major, major brands. You hit Apple and Sony, that's huge. American Express. And I know you have those, but do you have like another top 3 now that you've hit those that you would love to work with? Like a dream list?
Honestly, no, I should. But I just get like goosebumps thinking like I got to go to Cupertino to see the iPhone launch.
She went to Apple's iPhone launch. Do you know, like that's so exclusive to do like the Apple launch. It only happens once a year.
Yeah, and I'm not like a tech guru. So the fact that I was even in the room, like I had goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. And so, yeah, no, I mean, I want to continue working for them. I hope they want to continue working for me. You never know. But there's just so many things that they can do. Like I know I'm working with Apple Vision a little bit right now. And working with them just means like I get to test out products, shoot content. Like, you know what I mean? Like, which is really cool. But they're a company. They're just certain companies that you know could do so much good, and they do a lot of good.
They do. They give a
like
lot back.
Apple Vision is like something I never was going to try, and then I tried it out, and I'm getting off topic here, but that thing is amazing. But also, I thought of sometimes my kids have ended up in the hospital with like different breathing issues, right? And you think of kids on like Make-A-Wish and how, especially after COVID, people's immune systems are so low. So their wish might be to go to Disney World but like you don't want to risk it, right?
Yeah.
Apple Vision, you literally can put that thing on and feel like you are somewhere. And I was saying that like they should, I'm sure they will, donate a ton of those to different hospitals because we all know that a positive attitude, science has proven that it can literally bring you out, like it can help with health conditions.
Think of the education benefits also.
Right.
We're segueing here. This is great.
We are very much
It's huge. It's huge, the education benefits for like this VR technology. Like what
it's
kids in
amazing.
sub-Saharan Africa who don't even have internet at this point or clean water are going to get to experience things and learn things.
But also like
my
my mother-in-law, she is immune compromised, right? So she wasn't able to come to our wedding. And there are certain times where we have big parties and she cannot be there. Okay. Yeah. But now with Apple Vision, but not even Apple Vision, now you can on your iPhone shoot, it's called spatial photos and videos.
Okay.
But you put Apple Vision on. So let's say I record my son's birthday. It's spatial. So literally she will feel like she is there. It's insane. Like when I did the demo with them, I was like, groundbreaking. So if your parents they can't get on a plane or it's not great for them or you can't make something, now with the technology, you can actually feel like you're there. Do I think it replaces? Look, there's so many things with AI.
And in real life,
but
there's
I'm just saying
so many
that
things.
like it could give people who really shouldn't be in big group settings because of immunocompromised, they can still feel included.
Yeah.
And that is like, I mean, I was just in the demo. So these aren't even my kids that I'm looking at. And I'm like, tear because I'm thinking about all the people that this could affect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, working for companies
but that's on brand with you. You've got kids and you want to be able to do that.
And like that can do things for like that are trying to better the world. Like, yes, we're Americans, capitalism, I get it. But also there are a ton of people or companies as well that are trying to take new technology and actually do really good things. Sony, they're amazing for women. There's like a Sony Alpha program.
Yep.
And my biggest thing is, I've already hit on it, you know, I want women to know that, yeah, get married, have kids. But that shouldn't be the end all be all, right? Like women should not only be celebrated because they are engaged or they're married or they've had their child. Like what about all my girlfriends like you that have like kicked ass in career, that have done these other things? Like why aren't we celebrating women for those things?
No,
right?
It's a big deal.
I think another thing is like a lot of women, once they pop out a few kids
or 4 for Kristi,
they really put their life on the back burner. And I would say some women, it's because of the partner they chose or because the partner wants them at home. And apparently we live in the 40s and 50s. We do not. But there are companies like Apple, like Sony, so many more that are like, let's support women. I said, I want to go to India.
Support moms that are doing this.
I was like, I want to go to India. Let me shoot on your new camera. Sure, go. We will send you a new camera. We would love to see what you create. Because I want women to know that your life doesn't have to stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to stop. And I love companies that are like, you know what? Yeah, we have a ton of men on our roster, but we have the same amount of women. We have the same amount of diversity. Like, and women need that background. We need women need to see women. I want to see women on companies' rosters that are 60 years old, that are 50, like, because I want to know that, like, too. Yes.
It doesn't stop at 40.
It doesn't stop at
50.
40.
Like
I want to see somebody who's 7. And when I go to Sony Kondo, which is another huge thing for me, it's where they bring together all the photographers and stuff. There are women there that are 50, 60, 70 that are kicking ass. And for me, that's inspiring. Yes, I love Gen Z. I'm a big Gen Z proponent. I think they've done a lot for the world. But I also want to see women that are making moves that are older and wiser than me. And so, yeah, I want to work with companies like that. That's kind of where I want to go.
Well, yeah, because you're one of those women. I mean, the opportunities that you're going to be able to be given and your daughters are going to be able to be given. Like, if you're not paving and setting the way.
Who is?
Like, who is? No one's going to do it for us. Like, we broke the glass ceiling. Now you got to literally move the pieces aside so we can climb on through and then grab the person below us and bring them in. I mean, I feel like you do that a lot with like your friends too. Yeah. Your friends that are influencers. I feel like you also do a lot of these campaigns where you're like, I have this campaign and I think you would be good for that. Yeah. Do you feel like it's a really good community in that sense to do things like that?
I've been really lucky.
Yeah.
But I also, I'm not like, I'm a girl that's like, you can sit with me kind of a girl. And I give to my friendships so much.
Yeah.
Like, I really dive in. And I've gotten really lucky with my friendships give back to me. Like, so it's worked out really well. But also, I don't know, like, I feel like the world is limitless.
Yeah.
And why gatekeep?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no point.
There's no point. Like, and it's New York City. Like, why? Like, if I find a cool thing, I want my friends to have access to it and to know about it. And I believe in karma. I believe in do unto others what you want done unto you. And it's just good vibes. And the people that don't have the same energy, they just slowly whittle away.
Yeah, they filter out. There was something where it was like there's a defining moment in every friendship where you either have,
and you don't really have to do anything. They usually just let themselves out, and that's fine.
No, but you're surrounded by so many good people, and like I think that when you have these collaborations and you're giving back in that way of like, this could be a great brand opportunity for both of us. It only then brings them into like bringing you into other brand collabs and things like that. So like
truly
the domino effect of it all. Is
also, don't you love working with your friends?
I mean, I love that I get to do this and I get to talk to all of my amazing girlfriends and give them a platform to be like, I have phenomenal badass women around me.
Right. So like, that's the thing. Like, I love working with my friends. Like, this morning I was just up doing a Central Park shoot with one of my very talented girlfriends who's also a photographer. And last night we just went to the Philharmonic. So it was a late night. We had to get up at 8 or whatever and be in the park. And I was like, oh, there's no way. I walked into the park and I was like, oh my gosh, I can see the setup from a mile away. It is
gorgeous.
Gorgeous. And the most insane thing I've ever seen. But I was like, why wouldn't it be? It's Allie. Of course it's going to be stunning. Every detail thought of. And yeah, it's just fun too. It's like, that's what I was saying. Like, this last 24 hours feels unreal. Like, Philharmonic, insane photo shoot that's just like so meticulously thought out. Then I come here. Then I go home to my kids. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the life.
Do.
You do. You've got
very lucky.
Yeah, but it's also very well deserved.
Thank
you remember that. So any last tips or tricks for the listeners about how to be a content creator or be a mom, or any kind of advice you want to give to them?
I mean,
I feel like we covered a lot.
We did cover a lot. I mean, I think I kind of covered it, and I said that, look, if you want to become a mom, my one dating advice, if you want to, the person you're dating will show his true colors when you're dating him. Yep. David was over the top, taking care of things way before he even proposed.
Yep.
So don't marry the guy who says, yeah, or when you're pregnant, honey, once you pop out that baby, I'm going to start doing the laundry. He may do that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just think about all these things. Look at the long game when you're dating someone. David blew me away from day one, and he has not stopped. And we've been together over 10 years. And
I mean, couple goals.
Yes. But like, I'm very lucky, but we're both lucky. Like, we're both, and we have 4 beautiful children, but it's not something, it's something that I noticed and I think that's true. Like, if you want to share your life with somebody, that's one of your most important decisions, because they're going to push you or they're going to stall you. And he pushes me and I push him, and it works.
That's such good advice.
And then for content creation, stop worrying about what other people think.
And just do it.
Just do it. And if you have to mute people, mute people. If you want to block people, block people. If you're worried about them judging you, block them. There's a block button for a reason.
Yeah. They're never going to
know.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
So the last question I ask all of my guests, and it was not on the outline.
Okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to your 16-year-old self, what would that be?
Great question. Stop trying to rush and stop worrying about things, because you're going to get there in time, and just believe in yourself. But also when I was 16, we were all looking up to really super skinny models and block all that out.
Just be yourself.
Be yourself.
Enjoy.
We don't need to be a size 0.
No, not at all. Enjoy, ladies.
I think enjoy life and just trust the process. We're all going to get there in time.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
So can you tell the listeners where they can follow you on Instagram and your socials here?
Yes. My Instagram name is not very original. It's just my first initial, K, and then my last name, Hemrick. So K Hemrick. And then I started a TikTok for my lovely Stoop. It's Stoop and the City, like Sex in the City.
Which we love. So give Kristi a follow, and don't forget to tune in and rate the podcast and leave a review, because this has been one hell of an episode. Thank you so much, Kristi. I appreciate it.